And now, ladies and gentlemen, Dash Daring. That was impromptu.
Hello.
That's all I literally had was that. That's
We didn't
literally
script any of it
all.
very
No,
clearly.
I didn't. I didn't. I put up this nice blue sheet for you. That's as far to go with your shirt. Go with your shirt.
Right? My awesome Tiki Lounge Dash shirt.
Yes. So here we are. We're a minute into the live stream, and we just wanted to tell everybody tonight the purpose for the show, or just this little live stream, is to introduce the contest and how you can submit your content to be a part of Blobfest 2021 House of Harris. So
Because
Dash,
oh my God, we have so many spots for you to participate in.
Exactly. This is the longest live stream we've done, coming up in July. We did last year's, which was done very quickly, and then we did a Halloween show and we did a Christmas show, and each one got a little bit more intricate, but it was more on our end. And what we really wanted to do is we wanted to encompass everything we learned about doing the live streams, and then bring back the element of the Blob patrons, bring them back, bring them able to give them a chance to be a part of the show. So we're going to be talking today about how you can submit videos, photos, those kind of things, so that you can be a part of the show and be on screen. So when you have a ticket and you're watching the virtual event, you're able to go, hey, there I am, and that's me as the guy with the Michael Myers tattoo, or he dressed up as a giant crab monster from space in the costume contest. So we're hoping that we're going to have a bunch of different things, and then Dash and I are going to go through the list of things that you can participate in. Now, I'm going to post. So we do have it. It's in the chat. It is a direct link to all the items that it is. So you're basically going to email me, bob@thecolonialtheater.com. It's there. There's a deadline, and there's a little rules. I mean, as much as I'm sure your tattoo is awesome, you have to be able to show it to grandma. So it can't be in a dirty place. Kids are watching, so we want to make sure that your tattoo is on your leg, it's on your arm, it's someplace appropriate that we can put it on screen. So, we don't want, a rockabilly girl who is showing it all for the world. A rockabilly girl that looks like the Bride of Frankenstein wearing, a tight leather dress. That's great.
You're learning so much about Bob, and I'm so happy to be here for it.
So nice and clean. We do have an example of a blob tattoo on that link that I posted. So there's a very cool tattoo there. I wish we knew who it was. Frankenstone found that tattoo years ago, and we share it all the time on the Instagram page. We wish we knew who that woman was, because it's a great blob tattoo. It's fantastic.
So, Bob, you reminded me, it's a good place to start would be to talk about Blobfest in general, just about how it very much is a family-friendly event on so many levels. It's hard to have a horror science fiction type event and keep it on the level where you can feel comfortable bringing your kids in or having them sit down and watch with you. And I think it's sort of a point of pride for everybody involved at Blobfest that we're able to maintain that level to a pretty solid degree, with like occasional spooky things here and there that might scare your youngest ones a little bit. But let's be honest, it's good to have that tiny bit of a frightening gateway sometimes too.
It is. And this is what I really like about Blobfest, is that you can really have a multi-generational event. And that's kind of hard to do now. Like, even with concerts, there's kind of an age gap sometimes. I mean, yeah, you have some crossovers, but our event is very much steeped in a love of movies, a love of the kitschiness, and then, just having a good time. So you can laugh and you can cheer and you can be scared together. But, as I always say, you can bring grandma, and then you can bring the grandson. They can come together, and then you can have the in-between, the family in between, and everybody. There's something at Blobfest for everybody. And we have these screenings this year where the movies do kind of run the gauntlet of, we have The Blob, of course, we have The Last Man on Earth. You could speak about Equinox.
Well, actually, this is a great point to way to stop and talk about our theme this year. So normally our movies are very tightly themed around invaders from outer space or other monsters, giant monsters, or spooky houses, whatever that might be. This year, our theme is House of Harris, and we're celebrating producer Jack Harris's contributions to cinema, not only our cinema, like The Blob, but also other movies that he is famous for having either found, discovered, or distributed. And because of that, it means that we are running the gamut. We've got The Blob, obviously. We've got The Blob 4 times. There we go, 4 times. So
before I thought it was.
Should be 4. Once Friday, twice on Saturday, once on Sunday.
There we go. Okay.
Yep. Around the Blob, we've got a bunch of double features to tickle your fancy. We've got 4D Man, which is a solid science fiction, science gone amok film. We've got Dinosaurus, which is a classic stop-motion dinosaur monster movie. We've got The Last Man on Earth, like Bob had mentioned. Last Man on Earth is a classic horror film in the black and white. They're not zombies, but they inspired Romero's zombie style. So we're really all over the place, and I think that's when Blobfest is best, because make everybody happy. You've got everything, something for everybody.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. This year it's a little all over the place. Plus, we're adding. We're gonna have Gula Gogo. We're gonna have Aurora Borealis. We're gonna have Mr. Lobo, and we're gonna have cartoons. And then there is going to be the story that takes place that runs across the gamut of the 3 days of what Dash Daring is going to be doing. So we not only are we going to have those movies, but we are going to have content that's going to go and bridge the gap between the whole thing. So you are getting a full show. And in some ways, if you're at Blobfest, you can, the actual event, you can pick and choose what you do and you can go to it. For the virtual event, there is a whole story that's going to play out amongst the 3 days. And I think that's really what makes it different. It makes you feel like you're part of it. And, we're all going to have that shared experience of the 3 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 3 whole days. I actually, just looking at the preparation for this year, it's a different kind of prep. Like, we don't have a street fair. We're not there in person. So that kind of prep we don't have to worry about. But we are instead trying to keep you entertained and engaged for the whole weekend. And like Bob was saying, we've got a whole bunch of surprises and stuff stitched out there. One of the great things that we're adding this year, I think if you were here for our Christmas event, this is sort of a springboard off from that. So we're inviting a Ben Stansberry back, and Ben is a puppet master, not in the Charles Band Full Moon Productions sense of the puppet master, but a great puppeteer and puppet creator. And Ben, in his Bonesberry persona, will be hosting our Saturday morning, what we're nicknaming our Monster Kid Matinee, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time. It's going to really feel like you're in the 60s watching a Saturday morning cartoons and variety programs. So Ben's going to host cartoons. He's going to have Patient Creatures on with him. He's going to have an episode of Gula Go-Go. And he's going to kick off Saturday's movies with Dinosaurus, which, I mean, honestly, like, as a kid, that's what I did. I sat in front of the television in the morning on the weekends, and I watched claymation. I watched The Three Stooges. We're just trying to invoke that feeling again for you, give you that kind of fun time.
Yeah, I kind of want to say anybody who is watching or will watch this when we repost it is that we're really sorry that we didn't do a springtime show. But, once we had gotten the word that we were going to go virtual again, it seemed like we just shifted gears. We were really happy with how many people wanted a New Year's show and a St. Patty's Day show. And we were toying with all kinds of different stuff. We really were. But the Christmas show for us was probably we really were happy with the Christmas show. There was just so much that came together amongst not the best circumstances of everybody being masked and gloved and, Santa Claus just being as crazy as he was. And
those big bushy beards, man. I don't know what that does.
He just had to see Die Hard for some reason. So there was a lot going on with that Christmas show. But we've got a lot going on with this show. And I think the first thing we should talk about is that we've had some entries already, but one of the most important things that we have to talk about is Miss Blobfest. And Miss Blobfest, the deadline is this Friday. So
Let me just jump in really quick here. So
Well,
I know a lot of people, Dash has gotten questions about this. Do I need to be a professional editor to enter? Do I need to have great cinematography? The answer to all of those things is no. What you're basically doing to submit a Miss Blobfest entry is recording yourself, and you can do it on your phone as a selfie video. You could do it setting up your phone on a tripod. You could have a friend film it. We're not looking for whiz bang editing. We're looking for the passion. We're looking for you to tell us why you should be Miss Blobfest and why you love horror movies and why you love campy 50s things. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for your blobosity. It's what we call it. Our term for it is blobosity, that passion and energy to shine through. And it does. It usually does come right through in the videos. If you're worried about, I'm not a professional video making person, don't worry about that, because we're not either. And we're putting on a show.
Well, I think we're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're getting there. And another thing is that we are not the judges of Miss Blobfest. The former Miss Blobfests are actually the judges. So that's what we'd like to come out and make sure everybody knows, that it's just not the Blobfest committee itself, the programmers and all of us behind the scenes picking it. We've actually passed it off to the former Miss Blobfest, and they are going to decide who wins.
They're actually like a really awesome Avengers squad of Miss Blobfests, which warms my heart so much. And you want to be on this team. So I'm highly encouraging you to enter and be the last minute vision addition to our Miss Blobfest Avengers team.
There you go. So we do have on the Blob page itself of the entries and things, we do have a link to Miss Blobfest to watch Miss Blobfest 2020's video that explains everything. It doesn't need to be fancy, as Dash said, the video entry, but you do need to get it in by this Friday, which is the 4th of June, by midnight Pacific Standard Time. So we do need that in there. And then hopefully, if you're chosen, you will be a part of Blobfest 2021 somewhere in the show. You will be inserted into the show, and then hopefully we will have you at Blobfest 2022. If you're local, if you're close, if you feel like making the trek, but we will have you, be part of the show somehow. We'll figure out something. Yeah, we're creative.
The thing is, if you're listening right now, and you're like, man, for several years I've been thinking about doing this, and man, 2 days I don't have time. Just right now, open your phone, set yourself a reminder for after work tomorrow that you're gonna put on your cool outfit and you're gonna just shoot your video to submit it Thursday night. Set yourself an alarm. You don't want to miss this, because this will help you be involved next year when we bring the Blobfest back in person finally, which I'm sure both of us and all of you and everybody involved can't wait for.
And I have a feeling that we may be knee deep, I don't know, chest deep in people next year. I just feel like we constantly keep adding this audience that's going to come in person just to see what it's all like. So I just think next year it's just going to be insane just to look down the street and see how many people are out there to watch the run out. It's going to be unprecedented.
That is a great segue, Bob. We should talk about run out video submissions.
See what I was doing? It just works. It just works on so many levels. So go ahead, take it away. You can do the run out.
As you probably are aware, I can't find my hand. There we are. There are my hands. Oh, yeah. As you probably are, I'm Italian. Just let it go. As you probably are aware, one of the most prominent pieces of Blobfest lore of culture is the reenactment of the run-out sequence from the film. People drive from incredible distances and fight each other to near the death to get tickets to the run-out. You can be part of the run-out this year. All you need to do is record a 30-second to 1-minute video of your front door as you, your family, your pets go running, screaming out of it. It could be at night. It could be during the day. You could be in costumes. You could be in your normal clothes. You could be in pajamas, because that's probably honestly how you're going to watch the show. Doesn't matter how it is. Set your camera up, do your run out, email your video clip to Bob, and it will be included in our Friday night virtual run out. You don't want to miss this.
Now, if you have any hesitation on the contest entry sheet, the form that, I've been linking, that you can find out how to do all of this. We have it linked. You can watch last year's, and it's a mixture of the entries that we had. We even had a guy dressed as a dinosaur come running out in the big blow-up suit. So So you have that kind of, craziness. And then we also just have a guy with his family and they come running out of the front door. And that's it. So I mean, you can run the gauntlet, you can make it as fancy as you want, but 30 seconds to a minute. And then you can see all these things. We splice clips from the movie in. We had a couple of GoPros from previous years that not many people have seen. So you actually get an idea of what it's like. And then you can see like, oh, this is what it's like to actually run out the doors and see the crowd. And we had wide shots and all kinds of stuff. So it's very simple. We had people who were running by their movie theaters in their towns last year, just as to be part of it. You have a historical landmark in your town. You want to run by it, do it. We had somebody who ran past the Hollywood sign. So, I mean, the more crazy that it is, the more fun it is for us to say, oh my God, we have someone from England who's submitted a video. So please it's 30 seconds to a minute. It's you, your kids, stuffed animals, whatever you want to do, just have fun with it. We like that stuff. It makes it fun for us. We could have more than one blob on the show because we do have several blobs sitting around.
And that's not just talking about us and how we haven't really stayed in shape.
No, and it's not. And I'm going to bring out my blob since this is my blob from 2019 that I made before I became the marketing director at the theater. I actually made a shorty, and this is the same stuff. It smells good, actually. And
describe the scent for our audience at home. Describe the scent. Describe the smell.
Very purpley.
Very purple. Okay.
Very purple is a smell, but this is my blob. I'm going to touch it.
No, we don't, Bob. Jeez.
I'm going to touch it.
Oh, that's kind of gross looking. Not going to lie.
Very gross. But this was under my bed for a while, and then it's migrated to other places. But this was one of my blobs for the shorty that I made.
You don't actually need a blob in your house to flee from. And actually, I know we call it the run out, but if running really just isn't in the cards for your knees, Dash's knees are pretty bad too. You could slowly flee from the blob out your front door. This is just your chance for blob immortality. If you probably noticed, we replay run out footage all the time. So getting yourself in there is just...
We had someone run down his flight of stairs. He lived in an apartment building. And we kept splicing back to him to really show like, oh, this is really running out. So let's get to our next one. Now, this is one that every year people ask us to bring this one back.
Always.
So finally, we are bringing back the tinfoil hat competition.
And now we can't take any responsibility for any East Coast tinfoil shortages that this might prompt. It's not our fault. You should be using tinfoil you already have on hand.
I think it's been like 2016 since we did the tinfoil hat. And then we did like 2 years before that, and then finally brought it back and then made it super elaborate. So we have some pictures on our site of what it looks like, but it's basically whatever you want to make into a hat for a tinfoil hat. We had a Cylon helmet once. We've had the most elaborate, Southern Belle hat. Anything that you want to make out of aluminum foil.
Like flying saucers. 50s flying saucers are my absolute favorite. I love the Ray Harryhausen flying over Washington, D.C. Yes. That's my favorite.
A Viking helmet. Anything you want to do, we are going to put that into the show. It's going to be part of the competition. And this is one thing we really need pictures of. We really want to see it because we really don't have pictures of the old ones. This was...
Oh, somebody tap Bob. I think you tap him. Tap on your screen right now to reactivate Bob. Dink, dink.
Dink. I'm back.
There we go. Thank you, everybody, for helping to reactivate
these images.
Bob.
We want to see these hats. If you want to hold on to these hats, I got a feeling that they're going to show up in 2022 in person because everybody wants this. And if we're back in person, which I know we will be in 2022, we're going to just go, we're going to do it all. We're going to do it. It's going to be bigger than ever.
Walk around in the heat endurance now for next year's Blobfest outside.
We already have next year's theme picked and the films. So if you're good, you may get a little hint. Yeah, don't shake. Yes, we already got a pick. You may at the end of Sunday's show actually find out what that is. So,
Oh my.
well, we already have the dates. So, I mean, we already have the show, and we already have the theme. So that's another big one, is the tinfoil hat competition. Again, everything is linked. We'll also post it on the Facebook page so that you guys can find out exactly what you have to do to send it in. But these competitions, these are all due, all the stuff that we talked about for the run out, not Miss Blobfest, but the run out, tinfoil hat, and the other three we're going to talk about are due the 24th of June. So these you have time, but don't wait, don't hesitate, don't do it the night before. You can't make a tinfoil hat the night before. It's going to look
but it's not going to protect your brain from aliens.
Start now and build on it till the 24th, and then send in that awesome full body suit of aluminum foil. Maybe even you wearing it and running out of the house.
So Dash recommends that you line the inside of your tinfoil full body suit with felt. You're just not going to be happy if you don't. This is from experience.
Oh, and they are, yeah, they're hot. And the nice thing is you don't have to wear it out on the street in July heat trying to get to the competition. You just have to take a picture of it and send it to us.
You're reminding me of a costume contest entry from at least 5 years ago, maybe 6, who showed up as Mecha Godzilla in a full silverized suit. And oh my gosh, man, that fellow must have been burning up inside.
That was an incredible costume. I think we actually have a picture of it on the site right now. So if you definitely want to check it out, it's there, and it's insane. And he also had a Mothra too. Like he really, they had a full ensemble. They just brought it. That's how great those costumes were.
I missed the costume contest. Dash got his start with Blobfest as the host of the costume contest outside. So I want to bring up the costume contest because it is also due on that same day as the tinfoil hat competition. The costume contest, we're asking a tiny bit more from you in that we want you, as the character you're portraying or dressed up as, to sell that to us in the audience. So this is going to be a video. We don't want a still shot of you in your costume. We want a video of you in character, whatever that looks like, whatever that character is. So, and we will feature those winners on Friday night during our pageant stage show.
It is definitely worth doing, but we need the video of it. So you can't just send in you at a Wizard World or at Comic-Con and this great outfit that you made. That's cheating. We need something good.
Bob has strong feelings about convention cheating.
I really do. And since you're shooting a video already of you in the costume, you can just run out of the house wearing it. So look at this. You're going to submit 2 things. Think about that. Oh, put me in down for both.
Mm-hmm.
I'm running out of the house, and here's me standing in front of a blue wall dressed as a space-age gladiator. I don't know. Why not?
This is just Sunday at your house, isn't it?
Probably, yes.
So far we've talked about Miss Blobfest, which those entries are due the end of this Friday. That's the only one that you have to sort of rush on. The rest of them, everything else we're talking about contest-wise, those aren't due until June the
24th.
24th. Thank you, Bob.
June 24th. Now, the costume contest isn't on there. We will add it, probably because I forgot to put it on.
That's okay. So everything we're talking about, the way that you enter is you're emailing your entry to bob@thecolonialtheater.com. And we spell Colonial Theater the highfalutin way with an R-E on the end.
It's on the page. You can't miss it. Again, we will post it on the Facebook page where I'm sure most people will see it. If you're looking at this on Facebook or YouTube, it'll be linked at the bottom.
Could we take a minute to talk about cool merchandise? Because Dash is a huge sucker for merchandise.
Oh my God, what a way to plug our stuff.
Oh, wait, I am mirrored with my brand new Colonial Theater lapel pin. These things are awesome. I know you really can't see it from there, but they're now on the website. We previewed these at our recent double feature team up with Monster Mania of the Fog and Creep Show, and I think we sold out of them like that, 20 of them or 30 of them in a heartbeat. We reordered them. They'll be available at shows, but you can buy them right now on the Blobfest merch page.
Now, all those items are going to ship after Blobfest, so if you're far away, whatever, you'll get it. but we ordered more, so they're coming, and then we're going to ship everything out at once. So please forgive us if you're not like, where's my shirt? We didn't even print the shirts yet. So you're not going to get shirts before Blobfest. It's not something going to happen. Unfortunately, we have to order. These are made to order. It's not like previous years where we just have tons of them left over. We have to do the made to order this year. Speaking of shirts, I have last year's shirt designed by Donald David.
Nice.
And we only have a couple of these left. And unfortunately, there's one large and then several extra larges. I believe there's at least 17 extra larges left. So you didn't get last year's shirt. We do have a couple of them left. And then we are going to be adding 2019's shirt to the list as soon as we finish counting them. We do have some more of the 2019s and some of the 2018s. So we will have some older merch. We do have some lobby cards. We do have older magnets. We did find a lot of stuff in the attic at the theater, and we just thought, you know what? It's a good chance for everybody to get some of those older Blobfest merchandise that we sell at Blobfest. It's just one of those things. We have the Jack Harris Father of the Blob book, which details...
This is particularly interesting for Blob fans because it's got tons of behind-the-scenes stuff from the making of the Blob and several of the other movies that we're watching this weekend. We have a limited number of these left. I'm not sure if the ones that we still have are signed or not, but my copy is because I bought it at Blobfest a long time ago.
I didn't even know they were signed, so I guess I should look through those to see if they're signed. That's you could surprise. You may get one signed. The other nice thing about that book is he came in 2009, and that's all detailed in there in 2009 about him actually coming to Blobfest. And I was there. I was in the audience at the time. I believe that was my second or third Blobfest. That was a pretty big deal to actually. Wow, he's here, and Shorty Ayworth was still alive, so he was there, and a couple of extras were here and things. So learned a lot about the movie. Like the name of the dog, the little dog that Danny likes so much. His real name was Pepsi. That was the real name of the dog. So I always call it Pepsi whenever he's on screen, even though the dog, they want to call him William. I don't like William. I just think it's fun because I actually know the dog's real name.
We've got buttons and pins, and we've got stickers. We've got just so many cool things that you can get your hands on.
Also, we have last year's Hatch poster, and we also have Chris Garofalo's glow-in-the-dark poster. Now, I'm sad to report that this year's poster does not glow.
But it pops.
Boy, does it pop. His poster this year is fantastic. It's on the website right now to order. It's just amazing. It even has Jack Harris's face on there with these webs and the slime, and it's so good. I mean, Chris really did a great job on the poster. So again, all of this is going to be mailed out after Blobfest. You're going to have your stuff for the fall and all these great things. And then one thing we should definitely mention is the VIP ticket, which is a little bit different this year. In the past, we've offered you the incentive to do the run out and be at the show and all these other things. But because we can't do that this year, we've come up with a VIP t-shirt that only VIPs can get. And it's the healthily air-conditioned sign. So when you watch the Blob and you see this little blue banner that's hanging from the theater's marquee, we have actually put that on a t-shirt, and you are healthily air-conditioned.
This way, when no matter how hot it is, your friends will know that you are cool inside this t-shirt.
It is the in shirt. So if you know the movie and you see somebody wearing that shirt, you're kind of like in a secret club. And that's what's really cool about that shirt. Because if you know, you know. And if you don't, then you're not on the secret handshake kind of deal. That's what we love about that shirt. And we've been trying to do these special shirts for a while. And this is our first year at it. And we've already got like the next two lined up for 2022 and 2023. But the healthily air conditioned shirt, it's going to be tough. But this is the only time you're going to get it. It's gonna be a good long time before we bring that shirt back, if ever. This is tough on us because we know that shirt is going to be hot and it's going to be fun, and especially 2022, people are going to be walking around trying to buy them off of people. Like,
I mean, you're gonna walk around with that shirt, and people are gonna ask you and stop you at Blobfest next year and say, "Where did you get that shirt?" You're gonna say, "I'm just a really important Blobfest person."
exactly. That's what's fun about that shirt.
Really important RIBP. You'll be an RIBP, a really important Blobfest person.
All right. So again, another contest that we have to bring back that everybody wants every year. And I would say the age for this probably starts somewhere around 8 or 9. Those are the people who really want this competition, and that is our screen contest.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the one that the kids line up for this, and the Banshee, she can
Moira could kill you. She could kill you.
And if you don't know who she is, we used her picture on the document on the website to show you, the Banshee. But we want your video of you screaming, and we're going to be looking for the blood curdling scream, the pitch, the length, all that fun stuff.
These are, if you don't know, if you're joining us and you're like, I'm going to do Blobfest, but I don't know exactly what this is about, or you've never been to Friday night, the Friday evening stage show kicks off with Moira's Banshee Cry. This year, you could join Moira in kicking off Blobfest. We need your help to officially kick us off while we're on stage. So we're asking you to do your best, scream into the camera, and send that to Bob. Whether it's you, your whole family, maybe don't hold the dog while doing it. They have big ears and great hearing, and it's bad for them. But we want you to scream. We do recommend that you keep the camera or phone at arm's length. You do not want to be in really close proximity. Your microphone's going to cut out and it's going to chop, and you don't want that. So you're going to want to keep it at a distance and then really belt out your scream.
So we want these videos. I'm looking forward to listening to them.
You didn't say that with a lot of commitment, Bob.
It's gonna be fun, and that's what all of this is. It doesn't feel like work because it is so much fun. We should mention the chat. Christian Maurice Gant is saying hello. He shared our video for us. We've had a couple other comments. He wants to know who's going to win, COVID versus the Blob. We've endured. We put on a show. We're putting on a show 2 years now, so we keep going.
The Blob absorbs all.
One of our biggest fans, Gerald Harris, is watching. Hello, Gerald. Great that you were there. Gloop Trekker, who is one of our big costume contests and one of our winners. He has really brought it a few times. I loved his fly costume, but the Supreme Leader from Battlestar Galactica is great. It was so random, and you're just like, yep, there. And then one year he was Yogurt from Spaceballs. The guy brings it like every time. He asked us, have we ever screened John Landis's Schlock?
I actually, if I'm not mistaken, there's a rights issue with Schlock. It might actually be that there are, as he mentions, there are clips from Dinosaurs and the Blob in Schlock that might actually be causing rights issues.
You never know what the future is going to bring, because we've had movies that we've never been able to show at the theater, and then all of a sudden they get bought by somebody else, and then we can start showing Roger Corman movies that we couldn't show the year before.
Oh, I remember that. Or Maximum Overdrive, which couldn't even get a home release because of all the AC/DC songs before. That got fixed.
So there's lots of things like that we never know what is like. We have next year's theme picked, but for some reason there could be some sort of anniversary box set that they negate all theatrical screenings of certain films. So then that would change everything. So we never know what it's going to be. We're just hopeful. The nice thing about the Harris access to the Harris films is that we're able to just get those. We don't have to worry about the studios being a problem. We are in contact with that studio itself to get those films.
Interesting that you just said that, Bob. Just something that I was reminded of is we talked about the movies a little bit earlier, and when we talk about Vincent Price in The Last Man on Earth, which was incredibly influential on George Romero's imagining of ghouls, or what became the Romero zombie. And we're also showing Equinox as our big Friday night double feature with the Blob. And Equinox was incredibly influential on Sam Raimi for the Evil Dead films.
There we go.
We got a sort of underlying secondary theme going on.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to show Evil Dead, but then that brings us out of the family aspect. Not that I don't think there's families that watch Evil Dead. It's just I don't think it's
perfect time to bring up. So many people always ask, they say, why aren't you showing the 88 Blob remake? Do you not like that film? I love that film. Bob loves that film. We love the 88 Blob remake. We were kids when it came out, so it was very much like a coming of age, like trial, escape, spooky movie for us. But it's not family friendly in the same way that 1958's Blob is. That's why we were so delighted when we teamed up with the Mahoning Drive-In this year to show both Blob 58 and Blob 88 earlier this year, because it doesn't really fit our family-friendly theme for the weekend. So it's always been difficult. We want to show it. We love that movie too, but it doesn't really fit with. You're not probably going to bring your 5-year-old to see that movie.
No, and that's kind of the weird line that we break. And do we do it? Do we not do it? You never know what the future is going to bring or how late things could go. But 88 Blob is always on our minds, and it's always something that we consider. So even then, in the past, we have shown it the week before. But this year, we just held off. There's no Blob. There's no blobbing at the theater until we actually get, that we can actually host the event back in the theater again, where it so rightfully belongs.
Absolutely. Can you tell me about maybe a contest for those who might have very well-inked skin, perhaps?
Well, we can move right along onto the Sci-Fi Horror Tattoo Contest. So one of the things that I want to say right away is this has to be a tattoo that you could show your grandma. And I hate saying that, but it's something I've always done, where if you can take your grandma to see it, or you can talk to your grandma about it, then it's appropriate for what we're doing. So
let's say instead that it needs to be in keeping with the family-friendly theme of Blobfest, because somebody's grandma might be all about hot, really inappropriate tattoos, which is also fine, just not for our contest.
So we have an example of a tattoo on the page. Definitely want to check it out. That's up there. I mean, you had that tattoo, you probably would win. But it's definitely, we're looking for the sci-fi, spaceships and ray guns. And I mean, we've seen so many people at Blobfest, yeah, with fantastic tattoos of sci-fi and horror and creatures from the Black Lagoon, all that kind of stuff. And we know a lot of people that have them too. So we thought this is something that we should really do. We should really bring about. Even Dr. Frankenstone, though you can't see it, underneath his lab coat, he's got all kinds of great tattoos.
That's a blob science tattoo. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's a periodic table of the blob.
Of the blob science, right.
Yeah. So we really want to do these tattoos. We're going to put them together in a montage, and then we're going to pick our favorite. That'll be the last one. The one that really kind of just, right up there. But again, family friendly. We really need them to be family friendly. I once saw Bruce Campbell himself say, I don't want to see your boomstick, and I don't want to see something that says, this is my boomstick, pointing to something that might be the boomstick. So we definitely want to keep it very clean, very family friendly, because we are going to be putting this on screen for people to see. So if you have some ink, I mean, I've seen Star Wars tattoos that are have won awards. They're so amazing. So, always something to do if you're at a Star Wars convention and they have a tattoo Star Wars alley. You're just like, oh my God, how did you get that all there, and the shading, and it's green, and amazing stuff. So definitely
a good time. I have a great tattoo story, Colonial story, that I always love to bring up. So a fella showed up one time, and when Rico Browning, who played the creature from the Black Lagoon in the underwater sequences, he's been a Blobfest guest a number of times. A fella showed up one of these times, not the most recent, but about 6-8 years ago, and he had a really great Creech tattoo on his arm, and he had Rico sign the tattoo. He autographed underneath the tattoo on his arm. And the next time I saw that guy, a year later, he had gone right to the tattoo artist and had him right over the autograph.
Had that done too. I totally do that. Oh, you're on me. Now I'm freezing. I would totally do that. I would, Rico is the last Universal monster. There's no one left.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing that we've had him at Blobfest 3 times. If I didn't have to get up, his autograph's actually right behind me. So, it's amazing. And he's such a nice guy. And it's just great when you see him because he's just, hey, there he is. He's the last Universal
enormous amount of work. So he used to work on the Flipper television show that was big in the 60s. He worked on that show, and that gave him a passion for marine life conservation, which he's always speaking about. Actually, when we interview him on stage, one of his favorite things is to talk about that rather than he talks about the creature if you want to, but he's talked about that so much. He's very passionate about marine conservation. So if you ever bump into him, he would always love to talk about that. Just a quick hint for you.
Hey, sometimes it's nice to talk about other things than the thing that the person's always known for. It's a little bit more fun, and you get a better reaction, and you're a little bit more memorable.
Right. Everybody asks about Dash's hair. That's just the way that it is.
I'm sick of talking about Dash's hair.
I know you are. But I keep it healthy with my genuine piece of blob. This is a legitimate, actual piece of the original blob from 1958 here.
Uh-huh.
And Dash keeps this on hand because when this activates, Dash knows the blob's loose and he's got to get on the scene. But
it glows.
As you can see, it's inert right now.
It wants to be a part of the mother piece. It wants to get back to that. Speaking of which, this is not an official piece of the blob. This is another blob that I have made.
That one actually has a delicious cake color. I kind of want to eat that.
Oh, this is not. No. This was like homemade foam that we did, and it's almost a pillow. It's like, remember the old Nerf balls that could like chip your teeth?
Mm-hmm.
That's what this feels like.
I'm an 80s kid, Bob. I remember.
I remember those. But this one is still like weird. It's so gooey still.
That one actually looks gross. Like it's something that would fly at Spock's face in the original Star Trek and stick to his head.
Oh, weird pancakes from that weird episode where they're like on their backs.
What's the movie that actually does that same thing? Without Warning, right? Without Warning?
No, I'm not sure.
There's a movie where the same thing happens, but they're more grotesque and monstrous, where they fly.
It was the same writer.
Maybe. Speaking of writers, before we move on to the next contest, I always love to talk about Last Man on Earth. Richard Matheson is the author of the novel I Am Legend, which that film's based on. It's also the basis for Charlton Heston's The Omega Man and Will Smith's I Am Legend. But for those who love the Twilight Zone and 50s and 60s science fiction, Richard Matheson was a writer for those for movies and for Twilight Zone episodes, and has a number of great novels and short stories. Highly, highly recommend as you're prepping for Blobfest 2021. Make Richard Matheson high on your reading list.
I believe Matheson has 11 episodes of the Twilight Zone, which is the second most next to Rod Serling. It's something weird but Rod Serling wrote like 100 some, and then Matheson wrote 11. It's something weird like that. You're just like, oh, and he's the second writer on the show, and like he's got the most. But I've read I Am Legend, and I've also seen Omega Man, and I've seen the Will Smith movie. I'm sorry. Yes, I've read I Am Legend. The Last Man on Earth, as much as Matheson took his name off of it, it is very close to what's written, which is amazing that he wanted his name off of it. But I know that he felt as if Vincent Price was miscast.
He felt Vincent Price was wrong. I think like a decade after that movie came out, or in the early 80s, Matheson said his ideal director would have been George Miller, which, wow, way to be predictive of like this person with an expansive career that's amazing. George Miller coming back and making Fury Road, and like being a grandfather who directed Happy Feet, making the most powerful action movie in 20 years. And he said he would have wanted Harrison Ford in the role. I'm guessing 80s prime
Yeah. And
30.
he's probably like, what, 38, 39?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Right.
for me, Vincent Price can never be miscast. If there is a movie and Vincent Price is in it, Dash is going to watch it, and probably a bunch of times. I don't even care what it is. Vincent Price is my jam.
I think we should just have a rule that Vincent Price, we should just always have a Vincent Price movie. And next year we may just have him in there somewhere inadvertently.
If you agree with Bob and you think we should always have a Vincent Price movie, put that in the chat. I'm not sure where the chat appears for you, but put that
wherever it is.
What Vincent Price movie you would want to see at Blobfest?
See, we've already got one person that says absolutely. It's Vincent Price is just. We had a member of the Classics Films Committee once say Vincent Price elevates whatever movie he's in. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be, like Witchfinder General, Dr. Phibes,
Theater of Blood,
Dragonwyck. I mean, that's a great movie. But he just takes it up that extra notch. So even some of the bad ones, the anthologies that maybe he's only in one segment of, you still get this other level of actor that just shouldn't be in that movie, but he's fantastic. So
let me just excitedly talk about Vincent Price for just a moment, and I don't want to do this too long, but I do want to say Vincent Price has one of my favorite quotes of all time, and that's he who limits his interests limits himself. I always, when I'm talking to fans about horror, there's always this urge to say remakes are terrible, sequels are terrible, I don't like this. But the thing is that you can always watch a remake and go, it was bad and I'm never going to watch it again and it's out of my life. But there's the chance that it's going to actually be good. Like the Fly remake with Jeff Goldblum, like The Thing, which is a remake, like so many things. You could let yourself expand. Vincent Price was a Renaissance man. He got his first job as a preteen guy so he could collect art. He was a gourmet chef. There's actually photos of him at Dodger Stadium. He made his own higher quality gourmet hot dogs and then put them in a thing and walked around Dodger Stadium vending them. Yeah. He has a cookbook. You can buy Vincent Price's cookbook. It's always be like Vincent Price. Just always be expanding your horizons and you'll always be a cool person.
Follow this Vincent Price fan club on Facebook. They always have great things that they either post about him, like cooking or collecting art or his wine. Just it's amazing stuff, and you never get tired of it. It's some of those Facebook groups. You're like, oh, why am I in this? They post every day. They just post great stuff about Vincent Price and the art collection. I mean, that was legendary. His art collection was insane. So awesome, fun stuff. So I'd love to go through his cookbook and all those kind of things with Vincent Price. So all right, we're running out of time. We should wrap up.
Get to that next contest, man.
But we've got a lot of people who really like Frankenweenie. That's a great one for Vincent Price. Gloop Trekker said he's awesome as Egghead on Batman.
He is awesome.
They've actually brought Egghead into the comic for the Batman 66 series. So it's kind of fun to actually have other adventures with him. But we are currently looking at our October slate at the theater. So there is a suggestion of a Vincent Price movie that might be celebrating its 50th anniversary that we are hoping to show sometime in October. But as many of you know, we are reopening. We have a full slate of concerts that we have to, book and play. So we're trying to figure out exactly how these days all fall. So we really want to do a Vincent Price movie in October. So we're just waiting to see where all the chips fall so we can stick it in there somewhere and have some fun with it.
Before we talk about that very last contest, Bob, great point. The Colonial has actually been open for some time now, and we're expanded. We don't have the restrictions in spacing in the theater now. So please check out our slate of films. We actually have, if you're listening right now, this Friday, we're relaunching our first Friday, our Fright Night series, our horror monthly series, and we're showing Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which, okay, on the surface, you may be like, I can't bring my kid to that. Good for you. Probably don't. But it's a great horror comedy, a great black comedy, and it's really underrated. So come on out for that this Sunday. As a classic horror fan, which you probably are, we're showing George Romero's recently found lost film. George Romero's The Amusement Park. It's coming to Shudder. We're getting it before that for a one-night only engagement this Sunday night. You're not going to want to miss this.
No, and Amusement Park is going to have 20 minutes of an interview with Suzanne Romero, who's going to be talking about the film and how they found it and how George watched it before he passed away. And there's going to be some other like filmmakers commentary about watching the film. So it's going to be more than just the film, which is under an hour, but we are going to have some extra content. We also have some trailers that we're going to show of some things that we have coming up on film. So we're definitely we're going to have a lot of extra stuff. There's Krista Olsen King said she got her tickets to Amusement Park, and right now today we are the only people in Pennsylvania showing it. So I didn't see it in New Jersey or Delaware, which is we're not too far from there, from the state line. So if you really want to come out and you've been to the theater before, you know where it is. You know, Sunday it's free to park in town, which is a big thing. You know, it's always so hard to park. We're doing Sunday night, 7 o'clock. You can come and see Amusement Park. And, you know, we don't even know what to expect. You know, like we've read some reviews and we kind of understand it's about ageism and, you know, not having a purpose and where do you fall. But really, we don't know what to expect. So it's kind of this interesting experience and journey that we're going to have together watching this film. And it's not going to be on Shudder by yourself, you know, or with, you know, your significant other watching this movie together. You're going to be sitting there and we're going to be, you know, us. Chuck and I will definitely, I mean, Dash and I will definitely. I give away your real name. You are. It's in the program.
Hey, listen. I have a great Romero Blobfest story. Remind me, but talk about the last contest first, then I'll come back.
The last contest. We want to wrap this up by 9 o'clock. So the last nope, that's not it. Nope. The last the last costume contest is the pet costume contest. Now this sounds crazy, but our good friends Paul and Janice Hartman in 2019, they brought us the pet costume parade. So we just had a whole bunch of dogs come marching down Bridge Street, and our mayor Peter actually did a full, you know, best in show, talking about the different.
It was a total pageant.
I mean, it was insane. We had so much fun doing it, and we really felt bad that last year we didn't have anything to do with the pets and the costumes and all those other things. So we're not going to be too strict on this one, but if your pet is in a fantastic costume, you took it at Halloween, we'll take it. We really want to see these cute and cuddly animals dressed up to the nines and all their fun little gear and stuff. I mean, you know, we had a pirate, we had a crab, we had all kinds of crazy things in 2019. I was looking at the photos for it, and we have a picture of the dog that looks like it's engulfed in the blob, but it's actually a crab. So
that was a great one.
It's all kinds of weird stuff.
So, and you know, listen, it doesn't have to, like, we want it to be costumes, but if your pet's doing like this crazy, adorable thing on video, like, submit that too. Because it's a pet parade / pageant / costume contest. We just want to see your animals because we love pets. It's,
you know, we really wanted to keep this going. We didn't know how it would go in 2019. And it was so popular and so much fun. And it literally stopped everybody because they all marched down the street together. I mean, we had a parade of animals in the middle of Blobfest dressed in Halloween costumes.
And it wasn't the fans. It was actually pets.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And we had years of people who would dress up their pets, and we never had a costume contest. We never had anything. We had pugs with goggles on and butterfly wings coming out and all kinds of crazy stuff. And every year we would take these pictures and going, we're missing out on something here. And then Paul and Janice Hartman said, we really should have a pet parade in costume and just have fun with it. So we're bringing it back for the virtual show. And it's something that we're really happy we're doing. And it makes us laugh now. And we really want you guys, when you're watching this, to enjoy seeing your animals dressed up and being a part of the show.
Dash is a cat guy, so any cats in costumes that look miserable because you put a cat on a costume on a cat, we're okay with do that.
Always good. I would like to see if you have like a big iguana and it's wearing, like, you know, it's dressed like Rango, from that great animated film, something of that nature. A parrot who's, got an eye patch and has another parrot on his shoulder. I mean, let's just do it up and have fun, because that's what the whole weekend is about. It's about embracing the craziness and having a good time, and that we can't be together, we can still be together and enjoy the laughter. Dash is going to talk about the Discord.
He got me in one. That's right. So we have a chat platform. It's actually an app for your phone or a thing for your web browser. It's called Discord. And Discord is, we actually have a Colonial Theater Discord. So it's our own private little hangout chat room. And we invite you the whole weekend while you're watching along to join us in the chat room and talk to fellow Blob fans. We've got custom emojis. If you ever wanted to use the firefighter from the Blob, the Diners on Fire guy, we got him as an emoji. Like, we got you covered. So before we get too far, the hour's almost up. Let's really quickly do the recap. If you want to enter Miss Blobfest, it's due by the end of Friday. So do that one this week if you want to enter. That's open to all humans. Everything else is due on June 24th, and that includes the costume contest, the pet costume contest, the tinfoil hat competition, the tattoo competition, and the Scream and Run Out videos. Those aren't competitions. You just enter those, and we put them all together. So
the Run Out is one that we really want everybody to show us. Have fun, run out of the house. It's easy to do. It's really simple. If you are local, if you are in Phoenixville, you could run by Doc's house. You could run by the high school. You could run by the diner. Those drive us crazy. Those are the ones we love. You could run by a certain building that's open right now showing movies all the time. You could run by the different breweries. If you know some of the other locations, they're scattered, but they're there.
The real fans are going to go to where Valley Forge Film Studios was, which is now a wedding venue, and run kind of by their front door. Those are the real deep cuts.
I'd like to see somebody do the Rocky statue. Just run by it. Why not? Put it on your Blobfest shirt and just run by. Little things like that we think are great. It makes us have fun with it. And I wish I could drive down to the city to do the Rocky one now, because I really want to go do it.
I just wish I still had the cardio endurance to run up those steps after the pandemic.
No one has that. There's no way Stallone did not have like multiple takes. I mean, it's just, forget it. He said he had shin splints in the first one, and he was just running. He said he had ran all day, and then he just did it just to finish it. It's amazing. I mean, it's amazing.
Feel like an old man even thinking about it.
Oh my God, he's in better shape now than I am. And
so we're at the end of the show. Let me tell this story. Blobfest of 20. I think it was 17. I can't remember which year George Romero passed away, but it was Sunday of Blobfest.
17. I was 17.
17. Thank you. It was the Sunday of Blobfest. We were. I was sitting in the audience, and Mr. Lobo was up on stage, and he was introducing one of the last movies of the entire show, the weekend. And my phone started to really go off. So I left the theater, checked my phone, and found out that George Romero had passed away. And so I went to our house manager, Scott, and I said, I just found out George Romero passed away. When we finish this last movie, can we get up on stage and let the audience know? And let's end Blobfest 2017 with the opening of Night of the Living Dead. So he was like, yep, we've got it on hand. I'll go up and get ready to run it. So I announced it to the audience. I said, listen, it's a sad thing I have to share with you that George Romero has left us, but we're going to honor him in the best way that we know how. We're going to watch his seminal work, Night of the Living Dead. So we watched the opening of Night of the Living Dead right up through the whole cemetery sequence. And when we were leaving, it was like this great cathartic, everybody's hugging and talking about great Romero films and how fun Blobfest was. And, so there's always that Blobfest Romero connection for me that I always think of.
And we showed Night of the Living Dead for our Halloween show, Nightmare on Bridge Street, and it was the first film we ever showed for our Fright Night series was Night of the Living Dead.
That was back in 2008, right, Bob?
2009?
Was it?
I think it was 9.
Okay.
I think it was 9. It might have been 8. It's fuzzy.
Sure, sure. Well, I wanted to reach out and thank everybody who watched today and is still watching. Thank you for joining us. We miss you and love you, and we can't wait to hang out with you for Blobfest.
Yes, we will definitely be in and about the theater for our Fright Night shows and our horror shows, as well as Classic Cinema, which is coming back in August. So if you are local, Dash and I will definitely be in and out of the theater, and we're looking forward to seeing you on the Discord chat. And please remember that the week of Blobfest, we are going to have lots of interviews with lots of cast members and special guests. They're all going to be here on the Blobfest Facebook page, and those interviews are going to be conducted by Why the Podcast. So Luke and Heidi are going to be talking and answering questions, talking to the different people who are behind the scenes, and just giving you a better sense of what Blobfest is, what goes into it, and then what's going to lead up until Friday night show, which is just going to be amazing. And if we didn't say it earlier, we're saying it now. We're showing the Blob on our virtual live stream, our virtual streaming event on Friday night. So you can actually watch the Blob on Friday night, which is never done.
We never do that.
Everybody thinks we show it Friday night. We don't. We're doing it this year.
For you.
Exactly. It's going to be a lot more fun. And then it's kind of like, all right, now the next day you can bring somebody into your house to watch this movie and check out the Blob and see all this other crazy fun stuff that we're going to do. I
could talk about Blob all night, and we need to end the broadcast. But because we're showing 4D Man and Dinosaurus, which were also directed by Shorty Yeworth Jr. and produced by Jack Harris, if you pay close attention, you're going to see sets repurposed from the Blob, which you love, for both of these movies, a whole bunch. So it's going to pay off to watch the Blob all 4 times as you're watching 4D Man and Dinosaurus. And actors. You'll see a lot of similar, like, played a cop here, played a cop in this one. He's this old man over here. He's in the background. You're going to see a lot of the same actors in these films. So that also makes it fun because you're in the know then. You're like, I know that guy. Never saw him in anything else. Now I'm seeing him in 4D Man. Okay. All right. I think we have regaled them enough for one evening, don't you, Bob? Yes. Yes. And we could talk for hours, which we've done. So we do. Contest. All the contests are up. How do you enter? All there. It's in the chat. I will repost it again tomorrow. You'll have all that information, but we need this stuff by June 24th. Miss Blobfest by this Friday, the 4th. So good luck. We want to see it. Don't disappoint us. We're putting on a heck of a show for you. We want you to be a part of it. Thank you.